Hey guys, welcome back to the Tone Show. So Salem's Lot dropped on HBO Max. Excuse me, Max. Should you spend your hard-earned streaming money subscribing to Max so you can watch it? We're gonna get into that. So Salem's Lot is about a writer who comes back to his hometown to deal with some unresolved family issues that he has. And while that's happening, a vampire infestation happens. Don't you hate it when that happens? You come back home to vampires. So that's basically, in a nutshell, what Salem's Lot's about. Now, this is based on a Stephen King novel. This is the third iteration, or excuse me, fourth iteration. There was a TV series, then there was like a mini series, and there's like a TV 2002 Rob Lowe like mini series that turned into a movie. We're gonna get into that. That's on streaming also. Now, as far as like actually what the movie did for me, like the movie has some issues. I'm not gonna say it was a perfect movie or it was a bad movie, but it has some issues, and mainly the issue is that all the characters in this movie are very superficial. And now I just told you that it's about a writer who comes back home to his hometown. Well, basically that's it. It never doesn't really develop further than that. And as far as like the vampire infestation, we really don't develop that much either. Like there's not much like depth to the whole like backstory of the vampires. And this is based on a book which I haven't read. So I'm sure the Stephen King book has a lot more depth to it than this movie. This is a very superficial movie. It basically, if you like scares and you like vampires, this is for you. So it was a fun movie to watch and I enjoyed it. And there were some interesting characters in the movie, like the actor who plays Ben Mears and all the other actors. They did their job. Like it was perfectly fine. This is written by the same guy who wrote all the Annabelle movies. He works with James Wan, and he also directed Annabelle Comes Home. As far as like qualitative like directing, I thought the directing was fine. My only beef with this movie is basically at the end. I was like, so that's it. There's no more backstory. Like this, it was the climax wasn't very climactic. Let's put it like that. Like the ending of this movie, I thought it should have more oomph. It didn't have more oomph to it. It was like, oh, it's over. I'm not sure if you remember back in the day, like in the '60s, would have movies and they would just end and not be it. The credits would roll. That's why I felt at the end of this movie. I didn't feel like it was very climactic, the ending, and I also didn't feel like I got an answer to questions that were posed, like where are the vampires from? None of those things were really answered. So if you're fine with that, if you're into vampires and you have HBO Max, excuse me, Max, I keep calling HBO Max, then this is perfectly fine to watch. I wouldn't tell anybody to actually pay for Max to watch this. I don't think anybody should pay for Max to watch this movie specifically. But if you have it, I think it's definitely worth watching. Out of 5 tone shows, I would give this a 3 tone shows. Like, why did they drop this on Max? I was looking into that. It looks like it has the movie was delayed a few times. I'm not sure if the writer's strike was involved, but it ended up being put on Max, and that I also think was a mistake. If you actually go to iTunes, to the Apple Store, and like look at the different movies that they have offered, you'll notice that on 22, Salem's Lot is actually there on the list of movies, the rentals, top rentals, and it's not even this movie. It looks like people are looking for Salem's Lot, the new 2024 HBO Max version, and they're actually renting the version with Rob Lowe from 2004, which was like a mini series that became they packaged it as a movie, I think. So people have a hunger, like the marketing is out there. People want to watch horror movies. It's October, so I think it was a big doof move to drop this on Max and not let it hit, theaters. Even though I think it's like what the kids would call a mid movie. I think if somebody wanted to, it's fine. Like how many movies do you remember growing up going to the theater, and it was an okay movie. Like you paid for popcorn, you watched the movie. Like every movie doesn't have to be freaking Mozart, like a big movie. Like this movie was enjoyable. You watched it. I was okay with it. There was some fun moments. There was some scares that I enjoyed. So I messed up by dropping this on Max. Obviously, there's an appetite for it. People are looking for on VOD and they're not finding it. But I don't think anybody should subscribe to Max just for this. If you have Max, though, check out The Penguin. The Penguin's pretty enjoyable. I'm pretty surprised. So definitely check out The Penguin Show if you have Max. As always, guys, this is a Tone Show. And Salem's Lot's okay. I guess if you watched it, put it in the comments. Let me know what you thought about it. If you're not going to watch it, why you're not going to watch it? It's because you don't want to pay for Max. I got that also. As always, guys, this is a Tone Show. Tone Show.
Out.